Good evening, Wisconsin. How is everybody doing? It is another week in the books here for the podcast. Appreciate everybody stopping out. I know we're going to have a few more people compared to normal, probably from the Michigan area, which is awesome. Shout out to all the people of Michigan, especially my wife. You guys all rock. We know that, though. Jill's the first one in here. Jill, thanks for stopping by. Showtime, says Danny. Danny was really excited for tonight's episode, like a lot of us. Before we get rolling on that, Bubba's even here right away. Beans, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, Bubba. Before we get rolling, I always want to give a quick shout out to a couple of our partners. Our main partner is Higher Love, right above me here on the right, all over the beautiful UP. Jeremiah's here too. What's up, guys? Thanks for swinging in right away. Super appreciate Higher Love, everything they're doing to help us out here, and having special guests on the show as well. Adding that to the arsenal. Really excited for everything they've done and making things possible for us to get you guys educated on what's going on with the state of Wisconsin and cannabis. It's a journey, as we know, but we're in it together. So without further ado, I would love to introduce you guys to Joni Moore. Joni, we're going to try adding you to the stage and see if my computer can handle that. There we are. Hey, Joni, how's it going this evening?
Hi, it's going great. How are you?
Good, very good. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you on behalf of everyone in here as well. I am a lot of these people that know when we hop on right at 7 every night. They more than likely have been able to use the promo code and definitely know about your products. We have a couple of group chats where we can safely talk about different strains we find, that kind of stuff. So Facebook likes to censor that, but we're really excited to have you here. And
Thanks. I'm really happy to be here. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. I kind of wanted to break things down. Man, I would love to sit down with you for 3 hours and ask you lots of questions, but I kind of went with a little bit of a structure here. Hopefully, if I get carried away, let me know. But just really appreciate everything you've done for the plant, getting the plant to the people's hands. As we are learning, anything cannabis related is not easy. It's not simple. So for you to get to where you are today, I'm sure it's been quite a journey. So looking forward to kind of digging into that a little bit here.
Yeah, it has been quite a journey. And that is what it's all about, is getting cannabis into the hands of the people. So sure. Take it away. Where do you want to go?
Absolutely. Well, let's start with early inspirations. What was your initial inspiration? I'm sure maybe it's more than one thing, but for getting into plant science, and how did your childhood adventures influence your career path?
Well, actually, I've always loved plants. As a kid, I had house plants. I've always loved walking in the woods. I just always connected with plants. And my other passion all of my life has been health and wellness. And at some point, I started putting the two together. When I went off to college, I studied botany, and I came to the UP in the late 80s to study forestry and stayed here. I love the UP so much that I never wanted to leave. And I worked in research and forestry for a long time. I have a bachelor's in botany and a master's in forestry, and I've also studied herbalism. So the obvious connection was there. And then cannabis was legal in Michigan in the medical realm for a few years. I had a son. I have 3 kids, and my youngest has always been pushing the boundaries, and he thought it was really funny to plant a marijuana plant in my compost pile when he was a young guy, a young teenager. Sure. And I didn't think it was so funny because I was being a mom, but that was probably the first time I had actually seen a cannabis plant, and I was fascinated. So that seed was kind of planted in the back of my mind. And of course, I didn't encourage him to use cannabis because he was a minor at that time. And so we had to have that conversation. But it was the first time that, I never admitted it to him, but sure. It was the first time that I was really fascinated by the plant. And at that time, I had big gardens and just have always had this huge passion for plants. And then fast forward to, about 2010. And I just that's when we heard more and more about adult use in Michigan. And I was just so fascinated with it. I said, I want to learn how to grow this plant. So that same son was, by that time, he lived in Colorado, and he was a climber and had his medical card. He had a bad climbing accident.
Oh, no.
And so he's fine now, but I was sitting around the hospital with him for a month, and that type of thing makes you really take stock of your life, like, what am I doing and what am I going to do when I go home? Okay, when I go home, I'm going to start learning how to grow cannabis. And that was early 2013. Within a month, I had quit my research job at Michigan Tech in forestry, and I was working as a bud tender. And,
wow.
Wow.
You dug in.
Dug in and became a caregiver. I learned how to grow from the people that came into the store, and just practicing everything I grew. That was back in the caregiver days. Everything I grew, I sold in the store. I made capsules, tinctures. And the great thing was, I could say I never told the customers that I made it. I didn't make everything in the store, but I was one of the many caregivers. And so I got to hear from the customers what they liked, what they didn't like. And that was really the beginning of the formation of the philosophy behind Higher Love. Is I saw firsthand how cannabis changed people's lives, and how the ability to walk in and learn a little information about a plant that you could then take home and dose yourself with, that was healing in itself to people. That was empowering, not just that the plant helped them physically and mentally, but it helped them feel more in control of their lives because they could control this with the plant itself. So that's kind of how that got started. And then, you meet people and they introduce you to other people. And I was growing a lot of CBD, actually, not hemp CBD, but real CBD, the real cannabis CBD. And I met some folks that had a lot of business background, a lot of business sense. My current business partner is Fortune 500 experienced. And so at first we just wanted to grow some plants. We just wanted to have a cultivation facility. But then once you do that, then you have to have a place to sell it. So that's how we got started with Higher Love.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. That's awesome. I love the fact that, it showed up in your life a couple times, but I think that's something that we have a similarity in that once it's like, okay, this is something I want to do. Once you made up your mind, like for you to jump down, like not even jump down, but just bud tending in general was newer at that time, and just to, hey, I'm not gonna be doing this forestry stuff. I want to know everything about it. That's inspirational. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of how I do things. When I get
Sure.
a passion for something, it's all the way, no holds barred. You just got to go for it.
Heard that. We've gotten a couple comments in here, but Bubba says Higher Love should do a music festival. He's just planted a little seed. Just so
actually, we are.
Okay.
We have an event coming up in July. I will have to check the exact dates on that. I probably could look on my phone real quick while we're talking. It's in mid-July. It will be held in Republic, Michigan. We call it the Summer Jubilee.
Okay.
And we started that as an event for our employees, but now it's grown. We have 3 days of music. We have food trucks. So some jam band style music. Some folks are coming from Milwaukee. Some other folks are coming from Ann Arbor. We have Pajamas is coming from Ann Arbor. And so
awesome. She's on top of it, folks. All right. Well, I definitely will get in touch with Taylor. I'm sure she's going to let me know, but I will be there. That sounds like a blast. So
she's social media. It'll be advertised on social media.
Awesome. Right on. We had a couple people that pointed out they liked when they stopped into a couple different locations. The clean green certification. Could you explain a little bit about what that certification entails and why that's important for cannabis cultivation, in your opinion?
You bet. So I grow in soil, and I've always felt that as my interest in health and wellness is important to me, that when you grow cannabis or when you grow anything that you're going to consume, that you should grow the highest quality, the healthiest that you can. So that was just a no-brainer for me. When you grow in soil, you get the benefit of all the microorganisms. There's, no heavy metals. Everything tests out really clean. The inputs are just so important to develop that whole cannabinoid profile, the terpene profile, and you can really tell the difference when you smell and consume cannabis that's been grown organically. It's way different than things that you're going to see. Bobby, I couldn't help but notice that you partook in a little bit of Nirvana's products the other
I
day.
did.
Yes,
I did.
you did. And, why do you want to consume stuff like that that's grown hydroponically and in rock wool? It's totally different. I implore anyone to come in and smell the difference in one of our Higher Love stores where you actually can smell it. It doesn't come in a Mylar bag that's all sealed up and doesn't get to breathe and is lifeless. I mean, basically, if it's grown organically, it has some soul to it.
Sure. No, and you can tell the difference. You really can, because there's just something about the all natural and the well, first of all, deli style.
Yeah.
Being able to check out your different aromas profiles before you consume. I think that really sets you guys out there. So,
Yeah,
um,
there was no question in my mind that we were going to grow organic. We are certified clean green, but we didn't have to change anything to get that certification. We've been growing that way since 2019, and then got certified last year. But everything was
that says a lot. I think that says a lot.
just the same.
That's awesome. That's they probably looked at you for some of their ideas, like what are we all gonna how are we doing this? Um, as far as product development, as a leader who oversees product development from seed to sale, what are the key factors you focus on to ensure quality and consistency in your products?
Really big important factor is genetics. We've got our practices down. I have standard operating procedures that are implemented in the cultivation facility. Nobody makes any decisions that I don't know about in the grow. So that consistency is all there, and all of our employees in the cultivation facility are just totally on board. They're on the organic bandwagon, and so that's consistent. There's really no questions about that. Everybody's a believer. The part that I'm really trying to develop is genetics. I want to find new genetics, something that's different. We've got so many cookies and runts and Skittles and just the same old, same old. It's all from Afghanistan. It's all a redone of the same strains. And I'm out there right now looking for new strains that come from different parts of the world. I mean, we have 6 continents, not continents, but 6 regions of the world, or 7, where cannabis grows naturally.
Sure.
We're really only focusing on a small part of that, for a lot of reasons, for historical reasons, for reasons that those are the short cycle plants. They're short in stature. They're easy to grow. We've got them all genetically adapted to grow indoors and to produce a lot. But what I'd really like to see is some new things out there that really excite people. Maybe that harken back to some of the older strains that we all know and love from 20 years ago. And then also some new ones, some, things from Thailand, from Africa, from Hawaii, from all the different regions.
Well, and real quick, to kind of touch on just like the importance of genetics, that's one thing I notice about, and the reason that well, you guys help a ton too. So obviously, I want to reciprocate my business that way. But just I feel like when it comes to the cannabinoid profile, I feel like a lot of strains, especially like with this packaging that makes it look like it's really going to mess you up, and this, that, the other thing. It feels like a lot to get lost on just the THC profile, the THC content, and I think, are you in the agreement that it's? I just feel like there's so many benefits to not focusing just on that and to actually get the full benefits of the plant. Is that
Yes, absolutely. When you want to talk about medicinal cannabis, and in my mind, it's all medicinal. Doesn't matter
Mhm.
if you buy it under a rec license or a medical
Sure?
license, it's all medicinal. There's so much more than THC. I mean, we're still learning, there's all the new stuff these days about all the other cannabinoids, the CBD, the CBNs, CBGs, and all of that. But for sure, the terpenes that are available in cannabis, are so beneficial, and that's part of what sets it off. And yeah, we've, 20, 30 years ago, it was common to see THC percentages of 10, 12%. And now, of course, we're way into the 20s, approaching 30% or even a little bit higher. And everybody wants, it's like, it's not good enough anymore. It's got to get better, 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 higher, higher, higher.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, is that important? There's sometimes it's beneficial to slow down a little bit, take stock of how does this really make me feel? Is it really about the high, or are there some other benefits there that would be also beneficial?
Absolutely. And we've gotten quite a few comments on the gastropop, and then
Mhm.
personally, I'm a fan of the. I feel like I say every strain name wrong, but I believe it's Hypno Stank. Is that correct?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
We
my
don't
jam.
actually. Yep, that one. I do not grow that one at the facility. We have some partners that
Sure.
grow that one for us. Um, Gastropop, that one was really popular. Absolutely.
There's a couple. I'm trying to remember. We did like I had like a whole lineup of them. So,
Yes.
but that's kind of the neat thing is everybody's different. So, just because this one
Yes.
is more of an upper for you, that doesn't necessarily mean. And I think that's one of the neat things about cannabis is it is like a personal journey with the plant.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's one thing that people would ask me when I was a bud tender. Well, what's the best one you have? And I would say, I can't really tell you that. I
Right.
need to know, what are you going to use it for? And I would always have people smell it because the nose knows. And that's one reason that we still provide deli style is that it's really important for people to get that waft of that aroma and what appeals to you. If you've got three strains in front of you and you can't decide which one, smell them and see which one smells good to you. It might not be the same one that smells good to another person, but I believe that your body knows, and you'll be attracted to the one that very likely could be the one that is the most beneficial to that person.
Right. Well, and that's like so it was the Gorilla Glue and a different one that was specifically your guys' grow. And that was when I first realized this was earlier on in the whole movement and everything. But it's not just about that THC level. It really is about the
It
full
is not.
profile and how it interacts with your body.
Yeah, exactly. And we're so used to high THC now that it's hard to use things that are lower in THC. But one thing you were talking about strains, one thing I wanted to point out is one of my other favorites that we grow is the Tokyo Drip.
Oh yeah.
That's the one that we won second place with the Cannabis Cup
Yep.
last year. And my favorite right now is Blue Dream, which we just released to our loyalty members. And then that one will be available to everybody soon after. But that's just your old school Blue Dream. And we're going to enter that one in the Cannabis Cup again.
That's cool.
We're going to enter the Cannabis Cup again this year, and we'll have the backpacks and everything just like last year for High Times, which always creates a lot of excitement in the stores.
Very cool. Blue Dream is one of my two favorites too. So that's awesome. I'm glad you.
Exactly. I mean, it's just such a classic, and it's a sativa, but not a real high sativa.
Sure.
It's kind of middle of the road sativa. It's just great all around.
Right. Sounds like we got a few people in the comments that are looking forward to that as well.
Great.
Right on. Could you touch a little bit on you've kind of touched on it, but just as far as your personal interest in health and spirituality, how does that influence your approach to cannabis cultivation and business?
Oh boy, a lot there to unpack. As far as cannabis goes, it is the most amazing plant. And early on, I saw a documentary called The Botany of Desire by Michael Pollan. And I think if anybody is interested in this type of thing, like human-plant interactions and connections, you might want to check that one out. It's a documentary. I think you can find it on YouTube. But the idea is, if I was a plant and I wanted to ensure my survival, what would I do to make myself look attractive? And so one of the things you might do if you were a plant is develop something that delights the humans. And I think that is what has happened somehow. I'm not really sure. Serendipity, spontaneously, however that happened spiritually, that this plant has made itself delightful to us humans. And look at how we take care of it and dote over it and carry it around the world and all the things, and it's so adaptable. So there's just like this great connection that goes on between human beings and this plant. And it's done so many things for us. It's beneficial medically, spiritually, mentally. It helps, with all the things that we all know it does. So that's one part. And I can just feel when I walk into a room full of cannabis plants, I can feel their energy. And they can't talk to me, but I can feel that communication. And there's been times where I am ready to leave the room and I'm like, wait, no, I can't leave. There's something happening here that I haven't discovered yet, that I got to go back and figure out what it was. And I think anybody who grows cannabis probably feels that. That's probably a lot more common than people think. I'm not crazy. I'm not woo-woo. And there probably is some science behind that. We just haven't discovered it yet. So that's one part of it. And just that, you also mentioned in business, how does that philosophy spill over into business? And it's the same with our employees. We pay a higher wage to our bud tenders and to all of our employees than our competitors do because we care about people. We want them to have a living wage. And we just believe that when you're nice to your employees will be nice to your customers, and it just flows from there. So, that's why we call ourselves Higher Love, because, maybe it sounds cheesy, but it's really true. We're trying to spread that love around the community. And that's also why we get involved in community events, and we just truly care about people.
I agree. And you can have, just to touch on too, you can have all the like humidity readers and the light cycles set up on auto, but there is like this weird, wait, something, I just got to go check them quick, like something. And then there's something cut out, or it is weird. It is something special. And I think that says a lot about how you approach it as a business. I think that's awesome how you take care of the folks there.
Yeah. And, there's opportunities where we could be like everybody else. We could have the Mylar bags. We could get rid of the deli style. We could do prepackaging. There's business reasons that people do that.
Mm-hmm.
You make more of a profit if you can throw it in a bag and nobody can smell it. They can't see it. But we don't want to do that. We don't want to fill up the landfills. We want our customers to be able to see and smell what they're purchasing. And of course, we do have some prepackaged for people that are in a hurry. They already know what they want. They've already seen the smells, and they've already seen it. They've already smelled it. So we do offer a little bit of the prepackaged for those folks. But those are the reasons. That's why we grow organic, because we care.
Sure. No, right on. Bubba has officially endorsed you for president of the United States, just so you know.
Free cannabis for everybody.
There you go. Cultivation challenges. I feel like a lot of people, me included, before I got into growing, I wanted to learn as much as I could about the plant, similar to yourself. And but I just thought, well, it's a weed. That sounds pretty easy. It is a lot. It's a lot of work. What are some challenges, or like the most significant challenges you face in cannabis cultivation and addressing them, as far as like when you were talking, like we're going to kind of ramp up and start a dispensary, or, to be that kind of production? Is it quite literally just the same thing on the little scale, but you're just buying bigger lights, bigger dehumidifiers, but you're keeping all your numbers the same? Is that a learning process in itself, as far as?
It was such a learning process to go from growing my 72 plants in my basement to 5,000 plants in a production facility. And it didn't happen overnight. And there were lots of trials and tribulations along the way. Environment is a huge challenge. You put 2,000 plants together in a space, and you got to control the humidity and all those things. There's always something. And when you change one thing, other things change.
Right.
If you get a new irrigation system, oh, okay, well, now the humidity changed, or this changed, or it's just always something. And I think accepting there's always something. There's always a puzzle, and you have to love figuring out the puzzle. It's a puzzle with labor, it's a puzzle with the plants, it's a puzzle with the environment. But you just keep at it because you love what you do.
Sure. Right on. Jill is wondering, how do you balance your pH? She's having pH issues.
pH, a good quality pH meter is helpful.
Mhm.
And we use BioBiz products. So every product that we use is made by BioBiz. We use their pH up and down. They're all organic and OMRI rated. So that's how we balance our pH.
And it's got to be nice. I definitely like once you get it dialed in, which again is a lot of work, but man, it like trying to pH every time you go to water is a pain in the butt. Do you guys have like a thing that does that for you that helps keep your pH so like your hoses come out and they're ready to?
No, we don't like the dosatron and everything. No, we hand mix all the nutrients.
Oh, wow.
An Aero mixer is a really great device that aerates as it mixes. And I actually found that in large, when you're mixing up 200 gallons of nutrients, that Aero mixer mixing also helps balance the pH because it keeps it mixed so nicely.
Okay, right on. We're getting a lot of comments about people who have had great luck stopping by your place, saying that they can tell the bud tenders enjoy being there and that they're well taken care of.
Oh, I love hearing that. That is
Yeah.
what it's all about, that customer service.
Right. Bubba is wondering, do different strains speak to you differently while growing? He's curious.
Now, that is a great question. I'm going to have to think about that the next time I'm alone in the big room with all the plants.
Sure.
So far, no. So far, it's
no.
just cannabis has the same language.
Sure. Fair enough. As far as so Wisconsin is a challenge when it comes to cannabis and even getting any kind of legalization off the ground. What has it been like working with state regulatory system as far as specifics of legalization, and like, is it ever changing? Like all of a sudden, well, wait, you can't grow flower or have dabs or this percentage, or like, is it pretty tedious process as far as keeping up with, or what's it been like trying to navigate those waters?
Actually, it's been so much easier than you might think. We're really fortunate in Michigan that they gave us a user-friendly system. Our CRA inspectors from the state have been really fantastic. Partly, they're good human beings, but they also, and they want people to succeed. That's the general vibe of the whole department. But also because we follow the regulations, it's really important to us that we stay compliant. And because we do that, they respond favorably to us. And so we have a great relationship. Most of them are former law enforcement officers. And so that's been interesting to them, I'm sure, to make that kind of a shift in their careers. In fact, I thought it was interesting. I was talking to one of the inspectors recently, and he was just so happy. And I said, wow, you must really like your job. And he said, oh my gosh, he said, it's so much better than, a few years ago, I was putting people in the back of squad cars. And now, I get to do this and everybody's happy. It's really, great for me. So I thought that was interesting, that, he had that positive outlook on it, and they really have been great. You cross them, you do something that's illegal, and that's going to be a different story. But
right, I would think just in some of the customer base that we had who were retired or no longer with the police force, like it's got to be pretty tedious. I feel like most people understand the benefits of the plant or like the harmlessness of it, but it is just so crazy that unfortunately in the United States it's been such an issue for so long, and the amount of people. I really think that part of the reason this whole like just accepting the plant for being beneficial to human consumption, I feel like a big part of the holdup in the U.S. is just the amount of people that have been wronged for so long, and then to just be like, oh hey, sorry, we were wrong.
Right.
But it's such a beautiful plant, and hopefully we just get more and more people that are starting to realize that and come to that side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. There's still some old school thinking out there, and every time a state that where it's illegal moves to the legal side, they have to go through all of the discussion on how is it. It's like every state wants to reinvent the wheel. I don't really understand why. Like why don't they go to a state that's already legal and try to learn from them? But no, every state has to do it their own way, it seems. And so then there's this process. When we first started out in 2019, I was spending a lot of time in the communities because, as you know, well, maybe you don't know, but in Michigan, the local government has the say on whether or not cannabis can be in their state, in their township or their city. So we would have to spend a great deal of time going to the local government and discussing why they should do this or if they want to do this. And so that took a big effort. And, you heard everything from fear and anger to, oh, yes, where have you been?
Right.
So it seems the communities that are more interested in business are happy to see us. It doesn't seem to really matter if they're conservative or liberal. It's really the folks that are more interested in what's going to help my community and how do we improve business, because it's been the lifeblood for some of these small towns.
Absolutely. Sure.
Like Crystal Falls, for example, tiny little town, and they allowed cannabis and it improved business for everyone.
Sure. Right on. Hopefully that's what it seems to be going on in Norway as well. I was happy to see you guys were there. That's closest
exactly.
to my where my parents live. So that was awesome. We did have a question. Josh was wondering, with all the new dispensaries being built and introduced to communities, how does Higher Love stay ahead of the competition?
Well, we're not afraid of the competition because of all the things that I've just talked about.
Sure.
That I feel like when you connect with human beings on that level of what's good for them, we provide a quality product that's a value-driven price. We try to keep things reasonable for folks and give them a good variety. They can come in and smell it and see it. We just feel like that's what sets us apart from the competition.
So really kind of having it laid out the way you do, even in my opinion, like I feel like going to like, let's say there's a new township that you guys are interested in, but there's also a few other dispensaries. I feel like right now anyways, like you were saying, with genetics not really being anything too off the wall out there or anything, it's really just kind of keeping honed in what you guys have figured out with your service to your employees, to your customers. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like they can't compete with us, honestly. That we really don't feel like we have great competition.
Oh, right on. We've got, I think we're kind of caught up. There's a lot going on over there. Let's see here. Are there any new technologies or innovations in cannabis cultivation or product development that you're currently excited about or exploring dipping into?
Geez, there's always new things coming out, new products and that type of thing.
Sure.
It's genetics. Genetics is where I'm looking, but I honestly feel like we're leaders in that because I'm not looking at what everybody else is looking at. That stuff is old and tired.
Right.
I'm looking for something different. There's cannabis strains out there that are psychedelic. And,
I've been hearing some of that.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
So that's what we need. We need an infusion of something new.
Sure.
Yeah.
To get it to the next step. We had a question. How much, Burton was wondering, how much of your products are living soil organic?
Everything that is grown by us, by Higher Love, is organic. That depends on your definition of living soil. Our soil has microorganisms in it. So I would consider that living soil.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We've got, what is Bubba saying? Oh, we're caught up on Bubba's information as well. We've got personal reflections. Looking back on your journey so far, what are you most proud of achieving with your journey with Higher Love?
The fact that we have 7 stores, another store opening in another part of the UP coming up here on Noggin, and that we're still here. We employ almost 200 employees. We grow 5,500 plants. I mean, I started out with 72 plants in my basement, and we must be doing something right.
Right.
Yeah, that's what excites me the most when I go into the stores, and every bud tender has a story. The things I just love are those stories that all the bud tenders have, that I have, that everybody knows about the person that had cancer and it helped them, or the person that had a migraine, all the stories that we just love to hear that make us feel good about what we do. That's still my motivation every single day. And how, like I said, the way cannabis touches people's lives, and it just keeps going. I would say that that's what I am the most pleased with about this whole journey, is that as long as our intentions stay pure, it just keeps going and it keeps getting better.
Sure, I agree with that. Jill, I got your answer to a couple of your questions on growing. I can help you out with that, especially on a small scale. When it, oh man, I want to respect your time because I feel like I could ask you 100 more questions,
No
Joni.
problem.
I think it's really awesome what you've been able to accomplish, especially like you said, where you started 72 plants, and even before that, just jumping into the bud tender role and wanting to figure it out. Man, I think I speak for a lot of us when I say hopefully there'd be an opportunity to get Higher Love out here in Wisconsin someday. We're trying our best over here.
We'd love it. Yeah, we would love it. A lot of Wisconsinites come and see us every week, and we'd love to come back to where they are.
Absolutely. Do you know, Bubba did have a quick question. Actually, I'm kind of curious too. Do you know anything about a spot to stop and chill, like a lounge? Is there like has that ever been a thought of something up in the UP there?
For
Like a canner
sure.
lounge?
Consumption lounge. Yes, no current plans, but a future plan for something like that.
Is it something that is it like a gray area for Michigan
No.
right now? Or
They
no?
do allow it. It's called a consumption license, a
Okay.
consumption lounge license. You can do that. There's a lot of different regulations. And yeah, so it's just a matter of where and when to put in that type of thing.
And that's just got to be a whole different side of like insurance and all. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah, absolutely. Right. It's
Sure.
just like opening a bar. It has a whole different part of the business.
Sure. Josh, real quick, left a comment too that Higher Love is his first and favorite dispensary in the UP. Keep up the great work, Joni.
Well, thanks, Josh.
Yeah. So I feel like I had one more thing that I wanted to add to my quick to end a question on here, and now it completely escaped my mind. Music Fest. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we would love to see all of you up there. Like I said, check our website for information about that. It's in. I just keep spacing out on the time. It's mid July.
Okay, right on. Bubba wants to know if you. Bubba, he always puts one goofy one. He wants to know if you'll adopt him. No, Bubba, come on, get to work, Bubba. Go to work.
Well, we probably have some work for you to do if you want to come over to the grow.
There you go. Maybe Bubba can be your campaign manager for running for office. So, well, Joni, has been an absolute pleasure. Just a wealth of knowledge and awesome story that I think just sparks some hope for us out here in Wisconsin. We're so thankful that we have you a short drive away from us. and we're gonna keep up the good fight down here. And in the meantime, we'll be stopping up by you, and just really appreciate your time. Oh, I have a
Yes.
question for you, Joni. Would
Yep.
you be interested in? I actually got like a little because I wasn't gonna do like a whole big camera and microphones. I got this really little setup. Maybe we could talk grow one day. Get some
Sure.
information on
Yeah.
that. Get a little video together.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Awesome.
So you guys have my utmost respect for the fight that you're doing there in Wisconsin. I think you guys are doing great work. I'll just say a word to the wise. Do everything you can to be professional and, not to let the arguments drag you down. And, keep the stoner image off to the side and show up for appointments, all those good things, be on time, all that. It goes a long way, and people will take you more seriously when you're acting that way, and stay away from that corporate soulless weed.
Right. Felt that. All right. Well, thank you again, Joni. We'll let you get back to your evening. Hope you have a great night.
Yep.
And
Thank you so much.
Wisconsin, thanks you for your time. All right. We'll see
Appreciate
you
it.
guys
Thank
later.
you, Wisconsin.
Yep.
Love you guys.